Well, interestingly enough, the only moment you are ever in is the present moment. So there is no struggle required with that. The fact of the fact is that the only place you are ever in is in the present moment. Nobody has ever been to any other moment. Have you been? You've never been. I've never been. I would like to go. But the moment I get to that moment, it becomes this moment. The moment I get there, I am here. That's the only place I have ever been. That's the only place you have ever been. That's the only place you will ever be, is in the present moment. So it's not so much about how can I stay in the present moment. The thing is, you have no other option. So you better get with the agenda. That it's all happening in the present moment. And when we realize that that's all happening in the present moment, then we let go of this superstitious idea that there is some other moment. I have to realize that for a fact that the whole of life, like all the life that you have ever experienced, all the moments that you've ever experienced, and all the moments that you will ever experience will pass through this moment, right here. This is not a belief, this is a fact of life. Something you verify every moment. Time is standing still, yet it is passing from this moment. Yes or no? All flow of time is experienced in the present moment. So if we are not aware and realizing this fact and taking responsibility that the only thing ultimately that I have to manage really is this present moment. And if I do not have the ability to elegantly raise my state in the present moment, there is no hope for my life, for there is no other life than this moment. It's a fact. This is not a secret, which only the 1% know. Yes or no? So, when we realize that the all of life passes through this moment, it's a fact. And if I do not have the ability to elegantly shift my state in the present moment, and if I do not have the ability to elegantly maintain my state in that moment, in this moment, then my whole life remains imbalanced. I never get balanced in the future. That is something we have to realize, that we have to let go of the psychological arrow of progression. It's a trap. As I always say, if you're going to understand something, you have to understand it now. What you're not ready to understand now, you will never understand. Yes or no? Can we sit down in the back a little bit? Sit. Sit. Yes, sit down. Please. Okay, everything okay? That's good. Don't manage so much. Everything will take care of itself. Just sit down. Okay, are we settled? It's okay now. Good. Where did we settle? In the present moment. We cannot go to any other moment but this. This is the fact. And if we do not know how to manage this moment, if we do not know how to elegantly lift our state in this present moment, then our whole life remains in a state of imbalance. So the fundamental sanity of a human being, that's the fundamental sanity. What is the fundamental sanity of being human? That the ability to be in the present moment without needing or resisting anything. This is the fundamental requirement of being a sane human being. Are you with me or not? to be able to exist in the here and now, because that's all ever you are at, without needing or resisting anything at all. Forget planning and all that. How do I get over the past and how do I manage the future and all of that. We don't have that ability. Do you understand or not? So, what is important for us to realize is this, that for me to be sane, for us to be sane, we can only be sane now. Yes? That if I have to truly understand something, I have to understand it now. If I'm going to really change, if I'm going to let go of judging, if I'm going to let go of anxiety, if I'm going to let go of all my little politics, I have to do it now. I can't procrastinate. It's a trap. I can't plan for change. 1 year from now, I will become a better person. 1 year from now, I will truly wake up and let go of all judgment. You realize this is a trap thinking, right? No, it's a trap. It's only in the thinking level that this exists. So we have to begin to realize that the real growth, the true understanding only dawns within us in the here and the now. And if it is not going to occur in the here and the now, then it will never occur. Whatever you are not ready to understand right now, you are not going to understand. Ever. Are you with me or not? For you to understand, it has to happen now, or it remains as a potential of understanding. A potential of understanding in an abstract realm. For it to become actualized into your own field of consciousness, it has to happen now, here. And when we begin to realize that no, there is no other place for me to go, the only place for me to be is here and now, there's nowhere I need to go to, all I need to be is be here, then this here starts to expand. This here, or this present moment, is not a clock moment. This is not the fragmented moment which can be measured by the ticking of your clock. This moment actually has no beginning or end. Where is the boundary of this moment? The boundary of this moment is only your attention. Your attention is what creates the boundaries of the moment. Your attention shifts. And in that shifting of the attention, the moment shifts. Do you understand me? What you are aware, what is the field of your awareness, how expansive is your field of awareness, that is how expansive your present moment is. So the present moment we are speaking of is not the five sensory, measurable, hedonistic now. It is the here-ness of life. And when we elegantly begin to realize and we develop this ability to raise our consciousness state, to raise and manage our state in the here and now consistently, then naturally our life starts to rise up and meet us at that level. For if you remain anxious in the present moment, the future is filled with anxiety. It cannot be different. Yes or no? The anxious present moment consciousness can only have an anxious future. That's what anxiety is it not? Anxiety is what? Is an anxious present moment consciousness state looking at the future. And then future, all kinds of demonic people and demonic situations are there in the future. Yes or no? So the only moment we are ever in is in the present moment. The only state that we need to manage is the present moment state. And when we can learn to manage the present moment state, when we can learn to lift our consciousness state in the here and now, then naturally our whole of our life starts to rise up and meet us at that level. And that includes the past. First your past rises up. And then your future. Because this, who your identity is fundamentally first your past, then only your future. Yes or no? Who you think you of yourself as is based on the content that you have experienced, and you have a certain interpretation of the content that arose in the field of your consciousness. That interpretation alters as you lift your consciousness state. And as that interpretation of the past alters, guess what happens? How you are alters. The past rises up. And as the past rises up, naturally so does the future. For the future ultimately is not something you just create. It's also something you meet. Like this moment. Yes or no? This moment, we can say, is the most distant future we have ever been to. This is the most cutting edge future we have ever been to. We have never been to any more distant future. This is farther than Back to the Future. This is on a later date. Back to the Future is gone, it's old. Even the future of Back to the Future is our past now. So, this is the most distant future any of us have ever been to, any of us have ever witnessed. In this present moment state, what did we do? We just met this moment. We have this sense, yes, there is a certain choices we make and certain, we buy our tickets and we, make a plan and we get on a flight and we do this and do that. But in all of that doing, we are also arriving and meeting this moment. Yes or no? So there seems to be this kind of a interplay between meeting and creating. There seems to be a moment waiting for us every moment. Like that. Future. Future. Let's birth future. Future. You see, we are all manifestation babes. I heard this, somebody is called manifestation babe. We are all manifestation babes. And we are all manifesting future. 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 We can keep sitting here and we will die and future will come. How will the future come? The future will come exactly the way you are. It cannot come any other way. It can only come the way you are. And where you are, you're always here. This is the fact. Yes or no? You're always here. Future is coming at you as you. So, first we have to manage ourselves, manage our consciousness state in the present. Naturally, that consciousness state in the present begins to expand, and in that expanded consciousness state, which seems to be the clock future, is included in the here and the now. Because as this state rises up to its own elegance, life has no other option but to meet you elegantly. Why? There is no life outside of you. You are it. As we explored this morning, yes or no? That the whole of life is nothing but an experience. Where is the experience? In the consciousness field of the experiencer. And if life is nothing but an experience and all experience is within the consciousness field of the experiencer, how can life be? The life can only be the way the liver of life is. Like the snake charmer. It was good. How can the snake charmer be? as the experience is consciousness state. Somebody might be like, "Ah, this is irritating me." You are right. It is irritating you. You are absolutely right. Yes or no? You are always right. I'm really scared about the future. Yes, you are right. Life sucks. Absolutely, it does. You are right. I am so lost. Yes, you are. You are right. Nobody appreciates me. They don't. You are right. I'm so lonely. Yes, you are. You are right. In your life, you are always right. And your life will fit within the parameter of what is right for you. It will just slip into the cracks and it will morph itself into the parameters of your own rightness. You cannot change that. For there is no life outside of your own consciousness state. Life is nothing but an experience you have. Yes or no? Nobody can prove it wrong. So, as we realize that, then we see that the future naturally starts to lift up. Our awareness naturally starts to expand, and we know our sense of directionality of who we are. And then it's, of course, we have on the grosser level of reality, we have to do certain things which we have to interact with a certain level of reality. And we plant the seed at the right time. Yes, we don't try to grow rice in the summer. Yes? There is a here when it is, that here has the value of monsoon. And so we have to plant the rice just before that. Yes or no? And we plant the rice, and then nature does the rest. So when we learn to elegantly maintain our present moment state, naturally what happens up, our intelligence is heightened. We are able to see what is here. We learn to be with the isness of isness. Our vision is not blurred. We see more than those who are not here. Because guess what? It's all here. And what you are able to see is directly proportional to how much here you are. And are you here? Oh, here. Or are you here? Or are you here? Or are you here? Here, here, here. It's all here. Just different parameters of what you call here. Have you ever been hijacked, your attention been hijacked by a toxic thought? How many of you have had it? This shitty thing called the negative thought. Yes or no? It's never like, oh, so good. Never met a person who has had a negative thought. It's like, I'm having the time of my life, man. It's like, what? The negative mind is really up. Just life feels so good. So the negative mind is up, and what happens? The here becomes extremely narrow. There is a contraction that happens within our own consciousness field. Our awareness collapses. Our awareness is hijacked by that singular content. And the moment it happens, what happens? It reproduces at a rapid rate. One negative thought multiplies like a cockroach. You know cockroaches? And before you know it, even though the parameter of here is small, it has turned expansive pervertly within itself. And that negative thought then expands and projects itself into the past and the future. Yes or no? We have all experienced this. And where does this expand from? From the here. So we have to let go of this superstition that somehow being in the present moment truly is against planning in the future. It's against the future. How? These are not two different values. It is one value because there is only here and now. And when we are speaking of the here and now, we are not speaking of the hedonistic now, the isolated, fragmented now. We are speaking of the here-ness of life and the depth of here-ness that you can awaken to. It is not only on the five sensory level that the here we are speaking of the here which is much deeper than the five sensory level and much more expansive. It has no boundary ultimately. And that here includes different values of time which we call the past, the present and the future. And as we lift our consciousness state, we naturally find our future rises up. It has no other option. Like right now. This moment is at your mercy. Yes or no? The meaning to this moment is generated by you. Your consciousness state ultimately decides how this moment shows up for you. So that is our teaching. We elegantly learn to raise our state in the here and now. We consistently practice and lift our state in the here and now. We lean in the direction of progression in the here and the now. We don't procrastinate evolution. Remember this morning, nature's command, evolve or suffer. Now. So as we lean in that direction, in the evolutionary direction, in the here and now, naturally our perception becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Then future is not that big of a deal anymore. You know why? Because you become so certain of yourself that you can maintain, you know how to manage your present moment state. You know that. When you know that and you have that security, you have that guts inside of you, then you have the guts to face any future. You are not resistant to any value of future. Then you can be a visionary. You don't need to be a control freak. I'm going to plan the future. I'm going to control it. I'm going to make it happen like that. And when it does work out like that, I will still be stressed out. Yes or no? So, when we know that, then it gives us a sense of an expansive state within our own heart. We develop a greater ability to be in this present field of awareness. We are able to get to that state where we have no resistance towards whatever arises. And then we give ourselves the permission to be a visionary. And then we learn to play with our field, because we realize I am not creating anything as an isolated value of awareness. I can verify that because I am kind of slipping into the future, and this future is waiting for me. It's like future, and it's like, do you realize you've been dragged into the future in the present moment? It's like that. And then one day, morire. It's waiting. Just waiting. Kali is waiting. It's like that. Come to me. She's just pulling. You can keep sitting, she's pulling. You can be running, she's pulling. You can be climbing the mountain, she's pulling. You can be sitting in a glass house, she's pulling. You can be sitting in the street, she's pulling. In the present moment. Yes or no? So when you realize that, then you loosen up a little. You don't need to be a control freak about the future. We have vision. We remain visionaries, and in the present moment, we do our best. We fulfill elegantly the need of the hour. Whatever you need to do now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. Whatever you will ever do, you will do it now. What you will never do is tomorrow. From tomorrow, I will meditate. If you have to meditate, you have to start. That tomorrow has to be now. And that enough nows come together and you have a life which you can have reverence for. Yes. So we forget about the future. Don't make such a big deal about the future. This is a trap. This is a trap. How do I control the future? You can't. What you can do is lift your present moment consciousness state. You can devote yourself to rise up to your highest ability in the here and now consistently. As you do that, you will find naturally your awareness starts to expand. In that expanded field of awareness, future will start to rise in a greater charming value. Because you know that you have the moments, a lot of you are in a future moment right now, which you never thought in your wildest dream, like you're going to be here. Yes or no? You couldn't have planned this thing. Could you have planned this thing? It's like, 10 years from now, I will go to India on, what is today's date? 8th of November 2019. And at 7:23 p.m., I will listen to an Indian talk. Every now and then you got to play the Indian card, you see. Got it or not? So, lift your present moments. Devote yourself to managing your present moment state. And naturally, as you gain greater and greater elegance in that, spontaneously your intelligence will start to get more and more intense. You will naturally start to have greater access to the non-local mind, the non-local information. Do you understand? What we call the cosmic field. You will have greater and greater access to the cosmic field. Your here will expand. And so you will just do the right thing at the right time. What we call spontaneous right action. That is flow state living. Do you understand? And you will have a vision. Naturally you have a vision, but within that vision you have a surrendered. Because you are so elegant and fulfilling the need of the hour, you remain deeply relaxed within yourself. You don't take ownership of, I'm such a doer, I'm such a doer. You realize because there is something greater at work which is outside of the parameters of your own ability, you remain surrendered. You take surrendered action. And then you are one of those people and people say to you, how do you do this? And you said, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be that complicated, really. Just breathing. It just happens. I grew such a mango tree. You see, I grew the mango tree. Not really. It's the emptiness in the seed that grew the mango tree. You were there to participate in that process. Yes or no? How many of you have had that experience? When you get into that flow state, you know magic is happening in your life and it's just all happening and you don't know how. You're just being yourself to the greater and greater of your ability. You're fulfilling the need of the hour. You're following the charm because you're dedicated to being your best version in the here and now. And all of a sudden your life rises up to that level and people say, how are you doing it? What's going on here? You say, I know it's amazing, but I don't know. How is this going on? How many of you have had that experience? Yes. So don't worry about the future so much. Don't worry about the past. If you were thinking I was going to say worry about the present, no, don't worry about anything at all. Worrying is trying to solve it's like trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubble gum. It has no relation. It's absolutely futile. That quote was not mine. It was from a song called the Sunscreen Song. If you ever heard it, hear it. It's a good song. Has anybody heard the Sunscreen Song? Oh, 4 people. 6 people. 7. 7 people. We should find the Sunscreen Song and we should play it here. Mateos, one of the days we should... Adam, you have not heard the Sunscreen Song? You use so much sunscreen. He's a redhead. He said redheads have to use a lot of sunscreen. Got it. So have a vision of the future. But the vision of the future is directly proportional to your present moment consciousness state. Future is only limited by how you are in the here and now. Yes or no? For the reporter reports from his or her consciousness state, the witness witnesses from his or her own consciousness state. So if the consciousness state is dense, you witness from that dense place. And the future seems dense. When you gain your inner power in the here and now, things line up, doors open, and you just follow that call. Yes? And you always, to the best of your ability, fulfill the need of the hour. Always. You do your best, always. You never half-ass in the present moment. You half-ass tomorrow. From tomorrow, I will half-ass. It's like, from tomorrow, I will just, from tomorrow, I will not meditate. Today, I will. From tomorrow, I'll just wake up late. From today, I will wake up with the roof before the sun is up, at least. Yes or no? The present moments is so juicy, I could go on and on with it, but I'll stop. I hope you got the answer a little bit. If you're not, just be here. Long enough and the future will figure it out. And the secret is the future has already figured itself out. So you don't really just create your future, you meet your future. And which future you would like to meet is up to you. And what it is dependent on is your present moment consciousness state. What is the consciousness state you are most consistently maintaining in the present moment? Most consistently maintaining in the present moment. The present moment is not like that. Present moment. It seems like present moment, present. No. Present moment doesn't blink. The nervous system experiencing that blinks. Present moment, present, past, future, present moment. It's not blinking, it's just here. You close your eyes, go to sleep, and you wake up. Hi, who are you? Present moment. Where did you come from? I didn't go anywhere. It's always here. Capiche?